on the debate tonight. Leading the Indian side on the debate is Dr Seshadri Chari, member of the National Executive and convener of the Foreign Affairs Cell of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Maroof Raza, consulting editor, Strategic Affairs, India's trusted voice. Sushant Sareen, senior fellow at the Vivekananda Foundation. Tarek Fatah, author and columnist, joining us from Ontario, Toronto. And from the Pakistani side, two guests lined up now, two more on the satellite link in a couple of minutes. And those who are lined up from London, Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao, on the urgent need for sanctions against Pakistan, the imminent reality of it. Nobody wants sanctions, but that's how it's heading. That's where the pressure is moving towards. And that is eventually, unless Pakistan starts behaving a little bit like India wants it to and come in line, that's the only option left. Col Shafqat Saeed joining us from Islamabad. Should we start the debate, gentlemen? I'd like to start the debate by getting in Dr Seshadri Chari on why India is now openly calling out for sanctions against Pakistan. Seshadri Chari, please. Please go ahead, sir.
See, Arnab, it's very simple. When Narendra Modi took over as the Prime Minister, the BJP government, it was expected that the BJP government should be able to follow the same kind of peace process that the earlier government followed, that Dr Manmohan Singh government followed, and also during Vajpayee time. So we wanted to continue that policy of extending peaceful hand of peace to Pakistan, so that India, Pakistan and the rest of the SAARC countries can develop together. Our problems are the same. Poverty is a problem, ignorance is a problem. So that is what we expected. And we thought that it will be easier for us to deal with a democratically elected government in Pakistan.
That's right.
That was the whole idea. But unfortunately, we should remember that Pakistan exhibited one of its best duplicity ever.
That's right.
Because Pakistan is not controlled by a political setup. It is a state with an army, or rather an army with a state for itself. And we tried to tell so many people that it is the army which calls the shots and not the political establishment. The army tried to make life as miserable as possible for the elected Prime Minister. They generated so much of opposition from different political parties against the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was practically quarantined in his own house, and he had to leave the house from the back door.
That's
to
true.
that extent he was cornered. And ultimately what happened? In spite of all the best efforts of the Prime Minister of India, nothing changed. And the worst was the Pathankot attack, and then subverting a duly elected democratic government in Jammu and Kashmir state, where they have no business.
And replace it with a theocratic state.
Look at the kind of human rights violations. Look at the kind of human rights violations that are taking place in Balochistan and Sindh. Therefore, what we decided was we had to expose. And mind you, it is not just India that is exposing Pakistan's terror. The whole world. And one of the countries which treated Pakistan as their firm ally in fight against terror. Mind you, it was Barack Obama who said that Pakistan is our friend when we are fighting terror.
He said that.
And it is that government, that Obama government administration, which is now going to the extent of even imposing sanctions on Pakistan.
That's true. That's true. And the point is, the point is that any country which has done even 1/10 Shafqat Saeed, and I hope today that you indulge in a substantial debate, not a superficial debate. Otherwise, I will have a feeling that you come unprepared for these debates. Any country that would have done 1/10 of what you have done has faced sanctions. Why should you be left behind? For example, North Korea. North Korea has faced sanctions over human rights and nuclear security. You are a rogue nuclear state which smuggles its nuclear technology to other countries, like the case of A.Q. Khan. You know the human rights violations that you carry out in Balochistan. If Iran faced sanctions, Because of lack of cooperation of a nuclear security, why should a rogue nuclear state like yours not face sanctions? And you wipe that smile off your face, Colonel Shafqat Saeed, because that smile is not going to last very long. The moment the sanctions are imposed, and you know how things happen in the global diplomatic community, once powerful nations get together and there is a global consensus on issues that need to be immediately tackled, like the global problem called Pakistan, sanctions are the only problem, only solution that we have. So you wouldn't be sitting there smiling in Islamabad for very much longer, sir. When you face sanctions, we don't want to impose sanctions on you. It's going to be difficult for you. You're already an impoverished, bankrupt nation. You're being torn apart at the seams. You lack an institutional structure. You are the hotbed of radicalism. The only industry that you're good at is the industry of terror. When the sanctions happen, you won't be laughing. Shafqat Saeed. And clearly you have no answer, so you want me to keep describing your country, which I'm happy to do.
Why not?
I can keep describing.
I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever acrimonious statements you made warrant no answer. You ask me a question, I'll give you a good answer. Or if you want me to take you point on point, and
because you can't answer my question,
I'll give you the.
You can't answer my question.
For every
you can't answer my question. No, if I ask you a question, you can't answer it.
You have no question.
My
you have
question,
no logic.
My
you are bankrupt on
my question to you is why does the whole world demanding sanctions against you?
You are bankrupt.
Why is the whole world demanding sanctions against you? Why is the whole world demanding sanctions
against you? What do you mean by this? Times Now debate is world?
The whole world
or your Indian media is world?
I'll tell you what the
world's value us as the forefront country in the war on terror.
I'll tell you.
You stand nowhere in that, you know. And very soon the world is going to realize what have been you doing. You are responsible for those 149 children's deaths. You are responsible for those 70 liars' deaths. And you are responsible for everything that is happening in Fatah and Balochistan.
So don't embarrass yourself and your country.
Who doesn't know
Maroof
it now?
On the debate.
And it's not a hidden thing now.
I think Maroof will respond to you. Just calm down. You're on a reasonable debate with very, very serious, well-known figures who know strategic affairs.
No, you were very economical in your opening words, and you were absolutely unbecoming once you said I come unprepared. You have no question. You only make these statements, funny statements. You are a bankrupt country. You're about to disintegrate. The whole world is after you.
Yes.
The whole world is after you, and they value us and they bank on us.
Right.
And we are the one who are fighting the war on terror for them.
So you know your game
Americans
is over.
Have given a statement
your game is over.
Issued by White House before Modi Saab arrived in America.
Shafqat Saeed, I'll tell you a little bit more before Maroof responds to you. I'll have another sip of that cup of tea, take a deep breath and learn to relax. Practice yoga on the program.
No, I'm taking coffee, not cup. It's not a cup of tea. I'm taking black coffee.
Now the thing is, I want to tell you here, the utter humiliation that you have faced, because you go around the whole world. You go around the whole world, so I'm not raising my voice. I can, but I'm not.
No woman is raped.
I'm not.
We don't have a record that an world abroad has raped.
The whole world. China, which you say. Listen to me. China, which is your benefactor. China, which is your benefactor.
We have no record.
China, which is your benefactor. Hello, China, which is your benefactor. Shafqat Saeed,
You are humiliated.
Shafqat Saeed, listen. China was hosting the G20 summit.
Forget about China.
Listen to me. Listen to my question.
Tell me why Merkel did not.
Why forget about China? They're the only last saving grace you've got. You go around begging to them right now. That's where your existence comes from. That's where you draw your oxygen from. What are you talking about?
You will lose all your sense.
Now listen to me.
You will lose.
Now listen to me. Now listen to me. Calm down. Shafqat Saeed, you're going to blow an artery on the program like this. Calm down.
Did not touch his hand once even.
Calm down.
She did not consider him worthy of shaking hands.
Now listen to me. Shafqat Saeed, China is your benefactor. And Maroof, I find it interesting that China did not say one word. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had back-to-back summits. First G20, hosted by China. Second ASEAN, where China is a dialogue partner. Prime Minister Modi takes to the stage and tears Pakistan apart. Not a whimper of a word from China. China just deserted Pakistan as Prime Minister Modi tore into them. And Islamabad had nothing to do. 10 ASEAN nations, Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and the heads of state.
You forgot.
And the heads of state. Let me tell you, the world is against you now. The heads of state of dialogue partners, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Russia, United States, all came together against you as Prime Minister Modi took the stage. You're still asking who in the world wants sanctions against you? The whole world wants sanctions against you, sir. Maroof will respond to you now. Maroof, the whole world is demanding sanctions against you, and that's the only alternative you've left us with.
What are you talking? Nobody is demanding
We didn't want to liberate.
Only Arnab, Goswami and his panel is demanding sanctions.
Okay, Maroof is responding. Be reasonable and calm down. Maroof.
Arnab, I will not immediately get into a slanging match with Colonel Saab, but I wanted to just bring out a few points to add on to what Mr. Chari said and before that what you've said.
Yeah.
Firstly, the reality check about where Pakistan stands now was the G20. In the G20, which is the 20 most powerful countries in the world, two things happened. One was when Mr. Modi made his statement referring to Pakistan but not naming them, none of the countries which have very close ties with Pakistan, either China, Saudi Arabia and some others, none stood up for Pakistan, and neither was Pakistan even invited there as an observer, when in the past some African countries like Egypt have also been invited as an observer, which clearly shows where is Pakistan in the global pecking order.
Absolutely.
The second point to understand is Mr. Modi has reinforced the same point in ASEAN.
Stop laughing,
in the ASEAN countries, there are at least 3 countries. Arnab, just let me please carry on.
Just telling you to stop
there are at least 3 countries that Pakistan would like to believe are part of their Islamic Brotherhood. Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei.
Yeah.
None of them stood up for Pakistan other than the big powers which are now beginning to distance themselves from Pakistan. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that Pakistan wants to send out 22 envoys, or they may have sent out to various countries to advocate their case. What Pakistan doesn't understand, nobody is listening. Even those envoys who are going out, as Pakistan media reports have shown, many of them are clueless what they are really meant to do and how they are going to project Pakistan's case. So they are really on a sticky wicket and on thin ice. The third thing to understand is that Pakistan is repeatedly, every time we get into a discussion with Pakistanis, they keep throwing up the Kashmir issue and how we have done abuses there. But I'll give you one interesting anecdote. Pakistan's figures now about our human rights abuses allegedly in J&K are 100,000 lives. If they talk of 100,000 lives over 20 years, a rough calculation is 140 lives have apparently been done with every day. And that figure is twice the figure for which they are doing chest thumping right now, which those 70 odd families are feeling bereaved for the losses which have happened because of the instigation from Pakistan's side. Now, where do we go from here? My only submission is that Pakistan has 2 choices. It's on a tough crossroads. One is to really readdress the issues. Now, they have a national action plan where they wanted to readdress issues, but both the political leadership and the military leadership are divided on how they should address the terrorist factor in Pakistani life and society. Forget what they're going to do for India. The second point is, and the global community now, this is a sign of India's growing strategic weight, that the global community has now realized there is no choice but to go along with the Indian narrative that Pakistan is clearly a menace that has to be tamed. Now, how Pakistanis are going to address that without continuing to point fingers at us on Kashmir when they don't want to look at the mess they've made of their own country, that to me is the central question to which I myself admit I don't have answers.
Maroof, 1 minute. We understand the basic point. Javed Iqbal, welcome to the debate. First and foremost, I want to say this, that nobody likes to impose sanctions. Abid Rao, understand it clearly. Nobody likes to impose sanctions. Sanctions are imposed only on rogue terrorist nations, and It's the last resort, you know that. It's the last resort, Tarek Fatah. Sanctions are not imposed on a daily basis, Tarek Fatah. The purpose of sanctions, Tarek Fatah, is when a rogue nation decides to be a professional rogue nation and refuses to listen. It is the last resort. And I say today, Tarek Fatah, it is the last resort against Pakistan, because South Sudan, for example, which is war-torn since 2014, is isolated now because the United Nations has imposed sanctions against its leaders because of the ongoing civil war, genocide, ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity carried out in that country. What is happening? What about the genocide, the ethnic cleansing, the crimes against humanity, and the civil war in Balochistan, Tarek Fatah? Is it any better or worse than what's happening in South Sudan? Tariq Fateh. And Shafqat Saeed, listen to Tariq Fateh.
Sanctions would be the first step, because if there were no sanctions, traditionally there would be war. And none of us want to have a war in which hundreds of millions of people can die because it's a nuclear power. But there are simple steps to be taken. Pakistani military officers should not be allowed to travel abroad. Number two, the Swiss bank accounts, of all Pakistani generals, including Musharraf and Kayani, should be frozen. This will not hurt the Pakistani people. But if the next step they do not hold back what they're inflicting on the world, then you have sanctions on trade, which means that the Karachi port and Gwadar would be contained by Indian Navy or the UN sanctions or the American fleet. Because if this does not happen,
you will contain it. Bring your
Don't worry, I'm coming for you.
Followers and come and block Gwadar.
Yes.
Yes, come and block
it. What if gay and lesbian? I mean, I don't attend a madrasa, you do.
You were their representative, you wanted to protect their rights. You wanted to include them in the circles of Islamic Foundation of Canada.
Absolutely, absolutely. What has that got to do with crooks like you? You've looted the entire country. You sit there as a retired military officer,
you become
knowing that your hands are dipped in the blood of Bangladesh.
You lose everything about yourself.
It doesn't matter.
You're not worthy of
a completely
talking
transparent person.
The issue is real.
But you, sir, are a crook.
You're very transparent.
Looted your country.
You're so bloody transparent that
resources.
You would not like you to be a Pakistan. You should not even ever say that you were born in Pakistan.
I don't.
We have no blood on our hands.
That's not my doing. I am an Indian. I was an Indian for 5,000 years. I'm not someone like you who denies his ancestry. That's the main problem of Pakistan.
I'm not Indian.
I'm not Indian. Don't even know who you are.
I'm not Indian.
I'm not Indian. माँ बाप को भूल चुके हो. What are you?
चलो
Indus flows.
Nonsense. I'm not Indian. I'm Pakistani.
What
I'm Pakistani.
Yes,
I'm Pushtun Pakistani.
Listen, brother, Pakistan is not a country.
Pakistan we lose all our links with non-believers.
Pakistan does not belong to anyone.
I'm a Muslim.
The day it disappears, you are a Muslim?
It will not disappear.
And you murder and you
will never disappear.
You want to see...
We have not murdered anybody. There's nobody lynched on the roadside.
Of course
there's nobody burned.
Your hands are dripping with blood.
No.
Your Air Force, your military, your Navy, your general.
Where were you expelled from the Muslim Foundation of Canada?
3 million Bengali
Muslim Congress of Canada. No, we never. It was Mukti Banis and the Indian army in uniform of Mukti, in the garb of Mukti Banis who did it. Read that reckoning. You read that reckoning.
So bad that you are begging mercy.
You are not begging mercy but you are absolutely ignorant of the fact.
Oh, officer, sanu bacha lo. Sanu bacha lo.
You are a paid man. You come and speak what your master put in your mouth. You only utter what is put in your mouth.
Of course, India is my master.
You can't have opinion.
India is my master. I am India.
You are absolutely an ignorant man who speaks what he is paid for.
Kis gaja pe baith ke aa gaye India?
Did you
come with the Temuri hordes?
I know your opinion. I know everything about you. I read everything about you. You are funny. You should go on some comedy show.
You can read as much as you want. Your problem is that you have no legs to stand on.
Go and work on some comedy program.
Absolutely nothing to stand on. You do not have integrity. The country that was called Pakistan is now called Bangladesh.
Ignorant.
You
know
have
nothing about
only
history.
You are a mercenary
I request
I'm not mercenary. I'm a volunteer soldier of Pakistan Army.
Shafqat Saeed.
Yes.
The issue is sanctions. The issue is sanctions. Let us have a reasonable debate on the important issue of sanctions. Let us have a reasonable debate on the important issue of sanctions and Abid Rao. Abid Rao, I want to come to you. Abid Rao and Sushant Sareen. Calm down, gentlemen, calm down. Abid Rao and Sushant Sareen are taking the debate forward. Now my point is here is this. Understand, Abid Rao, everything that happens globally is in a context. And I simply want to explain the context to you. Just give me 30 seconds and take the debate forward with Sushant. Give me 30 seconds. Because it went off track, I want to bring it back on track. Remember, sir, your once ally, the United States of America,
American
imposed sanctions,
don't matter at all to Pakistan.
Imposed sanctions on Libya. America imposed sanctions on Libya. America imposed sanctions on Libya, and you supported American action of sanctions on Libya. You supported sanctions on Libya. Did you or did you not support sanctions on Libya at that time? Sir, answer my question.
Knows that Pakistan is doing everything to control these mujahideen.
Sir, nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes
American
that
sanctions mean nothing.
So
as far as I'm concerned, he has just given a statement. China has not given a statement. You said. Because the demand of Indian government is rubbish in Chinese opinion. So they wouldn't even like to comment on that. Mr. Modi had been criticizing Manmohan Singh ji 4 years back in Rajat Sharma's program that India should not go complaining about Pakistan to America. He's doing exactly the same.
We're not complaining, we're demanding sanctions against you.
They are going all over the world. Let's see what Pakistan is doing. If he has the courage, he should look in eyes of Pakistani leadership and talk to us directly. We will give him answers. By crying everywhere else, ASEAN or G20.
No.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Sir, let me tell you.
It doesn't speak good of any good leadership.
Abid Rao, can I intervene? Can I intervene 1 minute?
Just a second. You have been quoting Bangladesh. Bangladesh has Awami League, which is an extension of BJP. An average Bangladeshi hates Indian nation and Indian leadership. Afghans, yes, today they are talking your language, but it is a matter of time. 40 years they have been talking about us, now they are talking about you. So nothing as far as international pressures are concerned.
I think it's not a popularity contest. You need to understand.
It is one.
Abid Rao.
I mean, Awami League means nothing to Pakistan.
Abid Rao, I can understand your panic.
More Mujibur Rahmans in
I can understand your panic. Sushant can understand your panic as well.
He can.
Sir, I can understand your panic.
You will not be able to create any frustration on Indian leadership that your raw network has been caught.
Right.
People have been arrested.
Okay.
And you continue to destabilize Pakistan at diplomatic level, at domestic level. Have the courage to talk to Pakistani leadership.
Sir, listen.
We will give you appropriate answer. The response will be as per your requirement.
Which leadership?
You want to talk of peace? We will talk peace.
No,
if you leave the only option left for us to go for an armed conflict, Pakistani nation is not scared. It is not 71 anymore. Please remember that. Don't take this media effort towards pressurizing your government.
You're a bunch of Punjabis ruling over colonial territories.
Arnab, what is he talking about? Arnab, what is he talking about?
Stop talking of Punjabis. We have 55% population who are Punjabi. And we will have that proportion in every state that we have. We have no problem with Punjabi. Don't talk nonsense.
I want Abid Rao.
You outsider run away. Don't talk of Punjabis. Punjabis are mainstay. Punjabi are the majority. Punjabi is the powerhouse of Pakistan.
Tarek Fatah.
We are all same. We have no problem with Punjabi, Sindhi, Baloch, Pushtun and Bengali also.
Oh,
you are talking nonsense. Don't be fooling your audience.
You can't even speak your own mother tongue. You banned it.
Why
you just
not?
want to be fake Arabs who came from Uzbekistan. You're not a Pashtun.
You
can't
don't have
even
any
speak
identity.
Pashto.
Now you
have no idea. You're a disgrace on Pashtuns.
You are disgraced. You are shameful. You champion of lesbians or homosexuals. Yeah. How dare you talk to me?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That is why Pakistan watches more.
You have no face to talk to
than
me.
any other country.
I think you are
on
misfit
earth.
in subcontinent.
Sir,
I think you have no face in India even to go and sit and talk anything.
You can't think. Colonel, you're a colonel, a Pakistani colonel.
I don't know what they find in you.
Your prerequisite is not to think.
The only thing good about you is you exactly verbatim utter
you
what
only got into the army because you cannot
more
think.
Than that.
Otherwise, you'd be somewhere else.
More service than the payment made to you. And that is your best qualification.
I want to go back to the issue of sanctions, and I don't understand here. Sir, one second. Abid Rao, Sushant has not spoken. No, one second. Abid Rao.
No, this is nonsense.
One by one.
Sir, it's all right.
One by one, please.
Some of what you're saying,
some excesses in India.
Sir, may I say this?
Dalit being mistreated in India.
Okay.
I have not talked of Sikh and Christians being burned alive.
Shafqat.
Why are you talking?
Shafqat. 1 second. A lot of what you're also saying sounds like rubbish to me. I want Sushant Sareen to respond to Abid Rao, please, if you can. Sushant Sareen is responding, and Seshadri Chari also got provoked when he made that comment about, don't take us for granted, we can hit you, we are a nuclear power, etc. Broken record, don't you understand, Abid Rao? We laugh about it when you talk about your imported Chinese toys and say we are a nuclear power.
Don't laugh about it anymore.
Right. Anyway,
this is what I'm saying.
Let's go back to the substantive part of the debate.
It is not East Pakistan, which was 1,000 miles apart of an Indian territory.
Seshadri Chari.
Arnab. This is Balochistan, this is Pakistan.
I want to go back to the very critical issue of sanctions.
Abid Rao Saab, I have a lot of respect and regard for Mr. Abid Rao.
Go on.
But let me tell you, if it is not 71, it is 2016. This time,
absolutely,
your Pakistani army will not be supported not by your own political parties. Even the Baluchis and Sindh will revolt against you. You will lose Baluchistan. You will lose.
It is your dream. It is your dream.
Pakistan will be reduced. Pakistan will be.
Why are you talking about wars? Why don't you talk of peace? Why don't you talk to our leadership?
See?
You don't.
Why is Mr. Modi crying in different places at G20 and ASEAN?
It's called.
And Mr. Obama doesn't need the shoulder. He is elected by 800 million people.
I started this debate with peace.
You call yourself democracy and you go complaining about Pakistan to Obama.
Prime Minister.
It's a matter of shame.
But what did you give back to India?
Is so scared of
what did you
Pakistan.
Give back?
You're complaining about us to somebody else.
Atal Bihari Vajpayee extended the hand of peace. And you gave Kargil. You stabbed Atal Bihari Vajpayee in the back with Kargil.
I agree. There should be no Kargil. I agree with you. But
what have you
how
done?
do you prevent a future Kargil?
Okay, let's start with.
How do you prevent a future?
The only way to prevent future Kargil, I will tell you, Abid Rao, I will tell you. The only way to prevent future Kargil is to destroy all the terrorist training camps along the border.
Or face sanctions.
Agreed.
Or face sanctions.
There is no debate on that.
You cannot do that.
Agreed. Pakistan has its own national action program.
No,
we are doing that. We have our own sequence. We cannot get dictation from India.
Sir, you must understand. Nobody wants to dictate things to you. But when you, Abid Rao,
you are doing that. If you continue to say
Abid Rao, may I say this, please? Please understand. You either, perform your international duty, behave like a civilized nation, catch and hang Syed Salahuddin and Hafiz Saeed, or you perish as a nation. Now you must understand, nobody wants to impose sanctions on you suo moto. Nobody wants. You take a straw poll today.
That ourselves
sir, will you allow me to complete my point? Will you allow me to? Will you allow me to complete my point? I'm requesting you tonight. Because tonight on the debate, Javed Iqbal has not spoken and Sushant Sareen hasn't opened his innings here today. Please understand, I know that you will get a fright. And by the way, what you call crying is not crying. It is the Prime Minister of a large and powerful country, an economy, a country with scale, size and dominance like India exerting its might on a global platform, and we are damn happy that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is doing what has not been done before, because power is only as important and good as it has been used. India will exercise its power. Allow me, Abid Rao, what is happening today is an inflection point in Indian foreign policy. As a purveyor of foreign policy, you must understand it. Your country has exhausted with a capital E every diplomatic channel available to get you to act on terror. Our country, Abid Rao, listen to me now. Listen to me. Sushant can take this forward because he hasn't spoken. We have exhausted ourselves at every diplomatic channel available to get you to act on terror. We have indulged in goodwill measures. We have extended you an invitation for the swearing-in ceremony. We have given you the Lahore stopover, from exposing you at the world stage time and again, so you can get the message to international leaders asking you to look within and eliminate terror. Everyone in the world is exasperated. One second, Abid Rao. Hear me and hear the voice of the country tonight. One second. Abid Rao, listen to me. The whole world is exhausted and exasperated with you. Even China has given up on you. The ASEAN and the global nations have given up on you. You think you can barter your goodwill and get away this time? I say try your luck. Sushant Sareen on the need for sanctions. Sushant Sareen, please come into the debate. Javed Iqbal will reply. Sushant Sareen, please.
See, Arnab, I think the Prime Minister of India tried for 2 years. He reached out to Pakistan. There were 5 very clear initiatives he took. Each time, I think he was rebuffed by the Pakistanis. The last one was Pathankot. And I think he has pretty much, like most of us in India, have reached the end of our patience. And I think what has happened in Kashmir is probably been the tipping point. Now, having said that, when the Prime Minister talks about isolation and sanctions, there are 2 parts to it. One is isolation. To some extent, Pakistan is already isolated, and some of the parameters for judging that is what is the kind of foreign direct investment which is coming into Pakistan other than what is coming in from China. All other countries are pulling out their investment. There is very little coming in. What is the kind of tourist inflow which is coming into Pakistan? What is the power of the Pakistani passport? It is even below Somalia. And how many people or countries in the world are ready to give Pakistani visas when Pakistanis travel abroad? They are sidelined. There's special searches for them. Now, the isolation is there. But the important question and the crucial question is that as of now, I want to ask the government of India, will it put its money where its mouth is? So when we talk about isolation, you cannot have a situation where the Prime Minister of India travels for the SAARC summit to Islamabad and still insists on isolating Pakistan. That will be a contradiction. Secondly, you cannot start talking about trade and connectivity in this region, especially involving Pakistan, and then talk about sanctions. Number 3, when you talk about sanctions, what are we going to do? We have the economic heft. Are we going to leverage it and start applying calibrated kind of sanctions against companies which either carry out in the first instance contracts, for example, in POK, or for that matter, any other kind of business which they do in Pakistan? Will we then posit them with a choice that either you come in with the hip and happening Indian market, or you throw in your lot with the Pakistanis and get what you want out there, but then the Indian market is shut for you? And then there is the question that Manmohan Singh in his generosity had allowed the EU to give the Pakistanis trade concessions, which actually cost our exporters a hell of a lot. Now that trade concessions are over, they're up for renewal. They violated the WTO rules. The Indians had put in an objection, and Dr. Manmohan Singh's government then pulled out those objections. Will the government of Prime Minister Modi now go back to WTO and say that, look, that relief or that concession which was given at the time of the 2010 floods, that period is over. The Pakistanis have used whatever they had to use. Now you cannot give them these concessions. Now I could go on and on. There are at least 20-30 measures which the government
let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple.
Once you take that, the rest of the world will take you seriously. Number 2,
Javed Iqbal. Watch it. That's a long answer, Sushant. I'm going to have to cut you short. 1 minute. Sushant the minute.
Sanctions kick in, especially the financial sanctions. I don't think the Pakistanis will be able to stand up to them.
You see, Sushant.
Now, one simple question.
Yes.
One simple question.
You are asking questions or answering?
One simple question.
Yes.
One simple question. Now, why don't you just reply one simple question? The sanctions are on Pakistan. Why are you let Pakistan suffer? Who are you to tell? You should be happy. Why are you so, you are upset?
We're
Let there be sanctions on Pakistan.
We are not upset.
Let America and everybody.
We are not upset.
What are you talking about?
You are upset because your bank accounts will be frozen.
You see, to divert attention from Kashmir, you are doing all this.
Maroof,
and you have become servant of Washington. Who cares? Who cares about Barack Obama shaking hands with or a prime minister who was barred from
you have gone there with a begging bowl.
What are you talking about?
अभी भी उनका पैसा खा रहे हो.
Sanction about Pakistan.
Okay.
भिखारी लोग आके इंडिया को लेक्चर दे रहे हैं.
Pakistan is on your nerves.
Abid Rao is also speaking. One second.
It is not Pakistan. It is the Pakistan army who has unnerved you.
Okay.
It is the Pakistan army who is on your head. It is the Pakistan army.
Your generals are taking the salaries
of
soldiers that do not exist.
Who will take Kashmir?
Okay.
Many of your units do not exist.
Iqbal.
Who will divide you in 25 pieces?
Javed Iqbal.
You, whole of you, the whole panel is, Pakistan.
Javed Iqbal.
Let there be sanctions.
Javed Iqbal.
There will be sanctions away
Javed Iqbal.
So why are you worked up?
Javed Iqbal, 1 second.
Sir,
I have found a pattern in this. One second. Tarek Fatah, 1 second. Javed Iqbal, I found a pattern in this. Any issue you raise, you bring it back to 1971. Is it because you were a serving officer in the Navy when you got that beating in 1971 that you've not been able to get over your own psychological blow that you got when we crashed you?
I was also an officer in the Navy.
Anyway, let's go back to the issue.
I was also I was also an officer in the Navy when I thrashed you at Dwarka. When I thrashed you at Dwarka, I bombarded Dwarka. I was also officer in the Navy.
Yeah.
So now you are on the Washington shoulders.
Sure.
Let there be sanctions.
Mahmood Ghaznavi
Who's worried about the sanctions?
Anyway, listen, I can understand.
Which Navy are you talking about?
Mahmood Ghaznavi's Navy.
Admiral, you are a very senior man, right? I can only, sir.
You are talking,
sir, I can only offer you.
Of 71 and not 65.
Sir, 1 minute.
Why are you
Let me say something to you. Let me say something.
No, tell me.
Why
don't you?
I'll tell you.
What are you saying?
So I'll tell you. Admiral Iqbal, let's go back to the sanctions
and you are
issue.
Suppressing
let's go back to the issue of sanctions tonight. But before that, I would want to say, Admiral Javed Iqbal, that I offer you my sincerest sympathies for whatever trauma you went through in 1971.
I also offer you my sincere, I also offer you my sincere feelings. Let there be sanctions. You should be happy.
Okay.
Why are you worrying about Pakistan?
How many days?
You are only against Pakistan army.
Abid Rao.
You are, because army is unnerved you.
Yeah.
It is the army which is,
I don't know. Seshadri Chari is responding. I'm telling you.
You are feeling. You are suppressing your own population.
Admiral Seshadri Chari कुछ कह रहे हैं आपको.
Kashmir will not go away.
Javed Iqbal, Admiral साहब, ये Seshadri Chari आपको कुछ कह रहे हैं. भाई छोड़ दीजिए. जो भी हुआ 1971 में, अब उससे उभर के आइए. सुनिए
Come on, Admiral put sanctions. You are trying to sabotage Pakistan in Balochistan. You are Indian Navy officer. Indian Navy officer.
Forget all that.
You should be
Admiral Saab.
Cut him.
You have raised.
Cut off.
Admiral Saab.
I don't care.
Please listen.
If you don't want to listen.
Admiral Saab, you have raised an important question.
Cut off.
You have raised an important question. You have raised a very important question. Admiral Saab, listen, you have raised a very important question. What you wanted to know was, if sanctions are imposed on Pakistan, why should India worry? Please, remember one thing. Our fight is against the terrorists in Pakistan. Our fight is against those unlawful, illegal elements in Pakistan. Our fight is not against the people of Pakistan.
Who brought USA?
Admiral Saab, the people of Pakistan are our brothers and sisters.
USA.
We were the same people before 1947.
It is the of terrorists.
Before 1947, there was no Pakistan.
Is a terrorist. And India
before 1947, there was no Pakistan.
It is unity of two terrorists.
Your people are my people, our people.
United States of America has ruined Middle East. Terrorists.
Your family will suffer.
And India.
We are worried about that.
Terrorists.
Admiral Saab, we are worried about that.
It is two terrorists. Two terrorists have joined hands. It is two terrorists have joined hands. USA is terrorist. India is terrorist.
It does not behove a person of your status to talk like this.
You are trying to
Admiral, you are a war veteran.
You are trying.
You are a war veteran.
Two terrorists joining hands. Two terrorists joining hands. You are trying to impress us. You impress your own crowd with that. Pakistan is not impressed.
The Americans are enamored about you. You are calling the Americans terrorists.
The real thing is, you are unnerved by Pakistan army.
You are calling US a terror country.
Absolutely giving you. It is.
Okay.
You only
Rasheed Ahmed
will not even get political asylum in the United States. Remember?
How does anyone become an admiral?
Opening the debate again, please.
It's astonishing.
You cannot sleep.
I wouldn't employ this man.
I've been hearing a lot of things about the Pakistan army. I've been hearing a lot of things.
I don't think he's an admiral.
No, watch it. Tarek Fatah.
Come and help Balochis.
Come
and help Balochis.
Sir, don't lose your cool like this. Sir, calm down, sir.
Come and help Balochis.
Sir, don't lose your cool like this.
What are you talking?
Sir, don't lose your balance like this. Don't do this.
There are two terrorists.
Sir, you know what
India
people are saying here.
USA.
Sir, sanctions have not happened yet. It is likely to happen in the future. At some point of time in the future, you will face sanctions. Even before the sanctions are imposed, you can't behave like this on television.
You are fooling your own people.
Sir, sanctions.
You want to keep your own population in, poverty.
Sir, population is fine. Thank you very much. I just want to welcome into the debate Rasheed Ahmed Khan. And before Maroof, I'm coming to you. Sorry. We have Nehal Hashmi, Senator of the PMLN, former advisor to the Prime Minister on Justice and Human Rights. Nehal Hashmi, there is a very real possibility now of sanctions. But before I come to you on the issue of sanctions, I just want to share with the eminent retired Pakistani colonels and generals who are on the program a few things about their so-called invincible army. I mean, laughing stock of an army. It faced a humiliating defeat at the hands of the Indian Army after their failed attempt to occupy Kashmir in Operation Gibraltar. 3,800 of your men died. You did not learn a lesson. Your defense spending was raised from 5% to 10%. You could not feed your people. You said we will remain hungry, but we will beat India. At the end of, you had another embarrassing loss which led your country into isolation. America cut off military supplies. 1971, you didn't learn again. Shafqat Saeed, listen, 93,000 of your losers knelt down. They kneeled down before the victorious Indian Army. The largest prisoner of war surrender since World War II. Hello. Smiling will not do, Shafqat Saeed. The largest surrender of prisoners of war since World War II.
Mocking yourself.
9,000 of your soldiers were killed.
Pakistan owes a response.
9,000 of your soldiers were killed.
Pakistan owes that. It's a debt of honor.
I'm only raising some points tonight.
Story.
Since you talk about your army, I had to give you a little reality check. Yeah.
Yes.
You talk of
your entire Northern Light Infantry. Your entire Northern Line Infantry. We wiped you out. We wiped out your entire Northern Light Infantry. In the northern areas, we wiped out your Northern Light Infantry during Kargil. Wiped it out. We wiped it out. We finished you off.
Final round.
It is our magnanimity that we don't refer to the bodies that we return. We don't talk nonsense on
you don't accept anyone. You don't accept the bodies of your soldiers.
Only of you that you talk on
Shafqat Saeed, I only said this. Listen, Shafqat Saeed, Shafqat Saeed, I know. Shafqat Saeed,
it is lowly.
Shafqat Saeed, Shafqat Saeed,
that you go on to this extent of lowly.
Shafqat Saeed, I'll tell you this. Shafqat Saeed, I'll tell you what. Listen to me. Calm down. I want to say something to you. I want to say something to you. One sec, Tarek Fatah. I just want to say a word to Shafqat Saeed. Shafqat Saeed.
I had come for very serious debate.
Shafqat,
look at your arguments and your panelists.
No, because you mentioned your army.
If the nose had to grow on telling lies, you all would have carried a trunk.
Shafqat Saeed, see, I know that
literally,
I know that every time I can no, because you mentioned your army. This debate was on sanctions. This debate was on sanctions. But since you mentioned the army, I know how
both the Sharifs are one.
Now
you are talking nonsense by saying that.
Well, anyway, I mentioned a few facts.
There is no divide between Punjabi, Sindhi, Balochi and Pashtun and Kashmiri and Gilgit-Baltistani.
Nehal Hashmi.
And you talk so much of nonsense.
Nehal Hashmi, many of the Pakistani panelists on the program. Mr. Hashmi, many of the Pakistani panelists on the program tonight have said, we will be able to withstand sanctions. In your view, Mr. Hashmi, since many countries are now demanding this, and you know your diplomatic reaction tells me quite clearly that there is a sense of panic in Pakistan. Could you tell me how long you think you'll be able to withstand global sanctions? Sanctions from India is one thing, American sanctions is one thing, and global sanctions is the third step. How long will you be able to withstand it? If your assets are frozen, if your travel is banned and your trade is blocked.
The US has refused to issue visa to present Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, considering that Mr. Modi is a terrorist. And he massacre in Gujarat.
Mr. Hashmi,
2,000 person has been
Mr. Hashmi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi just delivered the speech at the joint session of the US Congress. So I don't know whether to laugh or to cry at what you're saying there. Now tell me.
Sanction will come on you because he himself admitted in Dhaka that he is instrumental and it was their Raktadaan that Bangladesh.
Living in the 7th century.
He himself admitted that he was an infiltrator.
Sushant.
And he was also responsible for the Gujarat carnage.
Sushant
and that's why the US government has refused to issue him visa.
Well, I mean,
on which country this sanction will impose?
I don't want to say to you.
On a country where a Prime Minister has
Sushant Sareen, I heard you there. I heard you there. Let me put that question to Abid Rao. Abid Rao on the right, please. Abid Rao, seriously, at some point of time, you're going to have to contemplate the consequences of taking a hardline position against every reasonable power in the world, which is now being pushing you into sanctions. You're going to have to negotiate, moderate.
You have a wrong notion, Arnab, that India is a reasonable or responsible power.
Anyway,
India is the biggest democracy in your opinion, but your petty-mindedness shows every day in every move that your government, media makes.
Now answer the question.
And you are misguiding your media.
Will you be able to withstand sanctions?
Your debate can never remain focused on the subject.
Sir, listen.
You are, when you run out of argument, you become provocative.
I'll ask you 2-3 points, sir.
Why do you draw pleasure in belittling? Serious.
Sir, I'll tell you.
As I said, ask your leadership to talk to our Prime Minister seriously.
Sure. But tell me, factually speaking, the whole world is standing up against Pakistan today for your failure and non-willingness
India is not whole world. Terrorism. You can try this. You will fail miserably.
Sir, John Campbell, I'll give you some evidence. I'll give you some evidence against Maroof on this.
You will give me these American names now. John Kerry and Barack Obama. We have been dealing with them on the same line. The good terrorist, the bad terrorist, Haqqani group, so and so. You will realize that.
Sir, you have aided and backed. Maroof will come in on this.
Israel.
Sir, Abid Rao.
America is sincere only to Israel. Nobody else.
Abid Rao.
They are looking at India as an economic market.
Abid Rao.
Important.
Abid Rao, see. It's not about the mess you've created. It's the situation you've created on neighboring countries like Afghanistan. You have aided and backed the Haqqani network. Maroof can tell you more about
America is hand in glove with us. They have done it since 1980.
You've done what?
So America cannot run away from that. particularly to please India.
No, you have aided and backed the Haqqani network, the Afghan Taliban, other terrorist outfits in Afghanistan, targeting the United States, involved in targeting the United States interests there. There is ample evidence of this, and you're saying here today that you have American support to kill Americans. That's the most ridiculous argument I've heard so far. Maroof is responding to you now on that. Maroof, please. I mean, that doesn't make sense. You put yourself in this situation today. Maroof.
Arnab, I'd like to remind the Pakistani audience, and we have a panel of very senior officers and literate people, the following. The first is that when we talk of sanctions, Mr. Tarek Fatah raised a very important point. The sanctions will only work if those who are perpetuating terror as masterminds, which are senior military and establishment officers, they are penalized, not the common man, as Mr. Chari has also rightly brought out. We have nothing against the common men of Pakistan. It is those who have an agenda against India that the world is now going to look at it afresh. Pakistan may be in a state of denial. They may be saying that we are now hand in glove with another terrorist, the United States. Sir, meri baat sun lijiye. Sir, please listen to me. I've kept quiet. Sir,
no, please reply. He was refused visa by the US authorities.
Please give me a minute.
Anyway.
वो ठीक है सर. आपके नवाज शरीफ साहब भी क्रॉलिंग गए थे बिल क्लिंटन के पास on 4th of July 1999 when he was told we have matters settled with India on Kashmir, go and resolve your border dispute and pull back. So don't give me all these historical anecdotes. I'll give you more of history than you can digest. But let me tell you a few facts. Arnab, let me remind the Pakistanis.
He has no blood on his hands.
Let me, sir.
He has no blood.
That is the problem with all of Arnab. That is the problem with your Pakistani. Yes, they are a bunch of shallow idiots. They don't want to listen to anybody. They have no sense of history. They have no knowledge of the reality of facts. They are just rambling on with irrelevant data. Can you please listen to somebody? कश्मीर करे जा रहे हैं सर. आप मर जाएंगे कश्मीर का नाम लेते लेते. आपको 1 इंच जमीन नहीं मिलेगी कश्मीर की. Let me remind you that, and let me also tell you, go and do a little bit of reading, or if you send me your address, I will email you and post you a few books that might educate you better to come back for these debates better prepared.
You will
read Stephen Cohen's book, The Future of Pakistan. The future of Pakistan is so bleak that nobody wants to put a prediction where you are going to go down the deep hole. You want to know your capability of your army? Read Christine Fair's book about your army. You have lost every bloody war with India, but you still go and claim that you have a victory. You want to talk about what to do in Afghanistan? Read Ahmed Rashid's book on Afghanistan and the Taliban. See what a right royal mess you made out there. So don't lecture us. The problem with all of these, or not the problem with all your Pakistani guests is, every time I come onto your show, I want to listen to them, but they talk such a load of crap that I'm unable to digest it. They are a bunch of demented idiots. Why do you get the same chaps again and again and waste the country's time and everybody's time? If you can't get sane people on the show, don't get them.
Lie, and your base is absolutely void of logic and sense.
What truth do you want to know? You want me to tell you that in 1947 your bloody politicians abandoned your army? You want to know in 1965 we were knocking on your gates of Lahore and Sialkot, and Abdul Ayyub Khan had to abandon Operation Grand Slam, and you called it a victory. In 71 you were humbled in Bangladesh. In 1999 in Kargil you left your dead behind. आप किस किस्म के फौजी हो सर? You have no capability. You can only bully people who are unarmed and weak. That's why you go and kill Baluchis and you kill people in Waziristan.
Kashmir will be part of Pakistan. Kashmir will be part of Pakistan. Kashmir will be part of Pakistan.
चिल्लाते रहो सर, ता क़यामत तक चिल्लाते रहोगे. जिस तरीके से आपने बोला था कि पाकिस्तान रमजान के महीने में बना था, तो अब अल्लाह मियां ही आपको बचा सकता है.
Kashmir will be part of Pakistan.
God bless you, sir. I hope God listens to your prayers, but I don't think He's listening. आपके पास जो है वो भी हम ले लेंगे.
Thought process in Pakistan
हमारा क्या लेगा?
based on hatred.
Kashmir will be discussed. Kashmir will be discussed, sanction or no sanction.
But
Kashmir
you will have to first learn how not to hate Hindus.
I feel sorry for these
You
chaps.
have to stop
I
hating
really
your
feel
own
sorry for
ancestors.
them. What a bunch of disillusioned,
You hate Hindus,
delusional bunch of crap heads you get on these shows.
I am proud to be Muslim. You are only scared of Pakistan army.
Good. So is the ISIS proud to be Muslim. So are all the jihadis in the world proud to be Muslim.
Problem is,
but your interpretation
Kashmir,
of Islam is so warped that no sane Muslim would like to hug you and be associated with you. You people are a global embarrassment.
One is Kashmir, other is Pakistan army.
And a question had been asked a while earlier.
Army.
That where did you get the
आपकी
figure?
आर्मी का क्या ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है कर्नल साहब? आपकी आर्मी का क्या ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है? हर एक लड़ाई में तो हारे हो. अफगानों ने भी आपके नाक में दम कर रखा है. आप क्या लड़ोगे? You only fight people who are unarmed, women and children. You cannot fight real men.
हम तो आज भी तैयार हैं.
We are very peaceful, peace-loving country. Go and ask United Nations about our army and their services.
My God. Okay. As of now, I will conclude by making one point here. I want Seshadri Chari on before I close this debate. Seshadri Chari, if I may, please, gentlemen, I heard this now. Now listen to me. Seshadri Chari, at this stage, I made one point, Seshadri Chari, that Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, the heads of state of China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Russia, United States, and even China did not come out and support Pakistan when Narendra Modi took them on. My reading of the situation, Seshadri Chari, would be that reasonable voices in Pakistan would be in a state of panic, saying a powerful country called India is pushing sanctions against us. We will therefore retrace our steps and correct ourselves before it's too late. Why is it that I get a sense tonight, Seshadri Chari, that the Pakistanis are unwilling to listen? What are they hostage to? What is the real issue? Is it the military-civilian dynamics in Pakistan or something else?
No, it's a very ironic situation, Arnab, if you see. All the guests from the Indian side here are trying to tell the Pakistanis that please behave yourself, keep some control over all these elements. Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, our foreign minister, just said that Jaish-e-Mohammed and all these terror activities, the D company, control them, put them behind bars, take action. We don't want sanctions on you.
We don't want.
The Pakistani guests are saying, okay, we will have sanctions. Why you are bothered? It is they who want sanctions and we don't want sanctions on them. It is very ironical situation. We want Pakistan to be improved. We want Pakistan to be a democratic country, demilitarized country, de-terrorized country.
It's not your prerogative. It's we who will decide that yes, our country is a democratic country.
You don't want to be a civilized country.
But you have not been able to decide, sir. You have not been able to decide. You can't. As long as you have got that army, you cannot do that. Try to improve. We are only telling you to improve. But if it cannot improve,
I want to ask the senator, I want to ask the Pakistani senator who's walking off the program. You see, the Pakistani senator walked off the program. Otherwise, I would have asked him why one of his co-senators was caught with Hafiz Saeed a few days back. I find today
let me say something.
Very casual manner in which the Pakistanis are taking the issue of sanctions. I would have felt it serious. I see the response to be supremely casual, however, Sushant Sareen. They think that this is just a joke. They think that at this point of time it's just a posturing which is not going to... Yeah.
No, it's not a joke. It's
not a joke.
No, it's not a joke or anything.
Also,
you have to understand the area from where they come from. this is the kind of psychological warfare they're trying to do. But I'm afraid I completely disagree with Seshadri Chari. You know, there are times in the history of countries, there are times in the history of countries when the whole country needs to go into a psychiatric ward because it suffers from a complete kind of a mental meltdown. And that is the problem which is happening in Pakistan. So for people like Seshadri Chari to say that, you know, it's the army is the problem. Frankly speaking, the gentlemen who are there on your show today, if they were not in the army, they would have joined somebody like Hafiz Saeed. That is the nature of the society you are dealing with. Unless we get real about the nature of the beast we are dealing with, we will continue to bark up the wrong tree. And this notion which we have that no, it's only the guys in the khaki who are the evil fellows and the guys in the mufti who are very nice guys, I'm afraid that's entirely wrong, entirely misplaced, and that's a complete misreading of the situation in Pakistan.
If there are 20 crores Hafiz Saeed,
right.
We are dealing with irrational people.
No, a person like
that the Kashmiris will not go with you. You are worried. The problem is, you are worried that Kashmiris will not go with you.
And Sushant is 100% right.
You are only
dealing with a
this
mindset
to divert
of mad
attention on
people with a
Kashmir.
nuclear bomb.
And I can tell you,
it's a good luck that the bomb does not have anything in it except
even a bigger price. No, we are waiting. You continue with this. You continue walking on this path.
I see a significant lack. I see a significant lack of coherence in your argument, Admiral.
We are waiting for that.
Point and then I close.
We are waiting for that.
Maroof.
I say that we are waiting for this.
Time, as they
Get
say,
the sanction done.
Admiral,
may I just give another piece of historical fact?
Admiral,
listen to them.
May I remind the Admiral, एडमिरल साहब दूसरों की भी सुन लीजिए और एडमिरल साहब दूसरों की सुन लीजिए आप जो इतना बता रहे हैं दैट योर आर्मी इज सो ग्रेट एंड सो केपेबल व्हाई वाज योर आर्मी ब्रास समन टू योर नेशनल असेंबली आफ्टर ओसामा बिन लादेन वाज किल्ड बाय द अमेरिकans because your entire armed forces were caught with their pants down and it was the first time in your history after the humiliation of 71 that your military commanders had to come and address your politicians and apologize to them that after taking so much of money and so much of funding they were still American helicopters that came to take Bin Laden and his dead body away. This is the capability of your armed forces, sir. Admiral साहब बड़बड़ाने की जगह थोड़ा सुन लीजिए. What is the historical facts? Your armed forces don't even know when somebody will come and take somebody away from their captivity. आपने तो बड़ा बचा के
I'll say one thing. सुनिए शफकत सईद एक और चीज आपको कहना चाहता हूँ.
If your army is that capable, why were they not?
Maroof, listening to the response. Listening to the response. Calm down, gentlemen. Calm down. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1 second. Now calm down. Listen to me. Maroof, 1 minute. Maroof, 1 minute. Shafqat Saeed. I want to say something to you. I want to say something to our Pakistani guests. अगर वो 2 मिनट चुप हो जाए तो मैं कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ उनके लिए बहुत ही यूजफुल होगा. Maroof.
Will not be able to do
and fuel the coffers of your military.
Okay. Now, Maroof,
why did you do that?
Okay, Maroof,
you are so ashamed of your linkages.
I just want to say something to the two Pakistani guests. Acha.
We are here with Kashmir.
Okay, Javed Iqbal और शफकत सईद जी, मैं आपसे कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ. शफकत सईद, हमारे यहाँ पे संस्कृत में एक कहावत है, उसको आप ट्रांसलेट कर लेना जब आपको समय मिलेगा. उसको कहते हैं विनाश काले विपरीत बुद्धि.
हमारे भी एक कहावत
विनाश काले विपरीत बुद्धि. That when you are facing destruction you lose your own mind.
कहावत है ना.
वही मुझे लग रहा है आज आप लोगों के साथ हो रहा है. अगर if you are inviting sanctions I can only say विनाश काले विपरीत बुद्धि.
दोनों तरफ है.
Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen.